ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully I didn't just cut the beginning of that off. I thought I would come in and share a little bit about drawing tutorials. I have a lot of people who say I could only draw stick figures, and I always tell them if you break everything down into basic shapes, you can draw. Alright, so right here I'm showing you the type of lines I draw. I use a feather line. And that means I can't draw a smooth line. I really wish I could, but I can't. So if I want to draw a shape, I draw it in little lines, and I just combine them together. So here's me trying to draw a smooth line. Yeah, see, I think the feather line looks better because I can always erase all of that extra feathering, and I can get the curve exactly the way I want. Sorry about the little fraps thing up in this window. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. Alright, we're going to get rid of the lines here. And if you can draw a smooth line without feathering it, I hate you. I hate you. A lot. Because I really wish I could. But anyway, so you break everything down into basic shapes. Right here I'm going to draw a bottle. And a bottle is just 2 cylinders. And you draw a cylinder there. You see you start with an oval at the top to indicate that the thing is at an angle to you. And then you draw, the outside of the oval on the bottom. You don't need to draw the inside. Then you draw a little bigger oval. A little bigger cylinder. And then you connect them with a line. And there you have a bottle. That's really simple. I'll go back to the bottle later. For instance, if you wanted to draw somebody's head, that's a circle, because their head's kind of circular, and a square for the jaw. So you have a circle and a square, and you can make a head in profile. You can put a little triangle for the nose there. So that's just very basic. It's all going to come together when you draw the outline and you clean out the sketch lines. So here I'm drawing his chest. It's just another big oval. Like I said, everything's down into basic shapes. A nice little circle for his shoulder. Just connect the neck down. And just like you connected the bottle, you connect the neck down. I usually draw the forearm next because I think it's easier that way. That way you can get the shaping right. Little oval for the bicep. A little oval for the tricep. Don't expect me to remember all these muscles. And the shoulder kind of connects down in between the bicep and the tricep, so you can draw that line in there. And then you just connect the tricep to the forearm, just like with the bottle. The ribs. You can just make a little outline of ribs there. It's really simple, and the abs, of course, are just kind of rounded squares. You don't always have to draw all the abs in. Sometimes it looks cool if you just hint at them. You draw the basic outline and leave it really light. Then there's that muscle right there. I'm not sure what it's called. It's the doohickey muscle, and then the muscle I don't know what that muscle is called either, or that one. But it's there, especially in this position. You want to bisect the oval you made for the chest so that he has 2 pectoral muscles. And then you want to draw a little circle on the other side because you can kind of see that shoulder from this angle. And if you were turned around, you would just draw it the same way. The eye is just, at this angle, the eye is just a triangle at the back and a circle at the front because the eye is rounded. I'm going to work real hard on this forehead. Foreheads give me trouble. But anyway, you want to clarify things. Ear goes right around where the jaw meets, where the jaw ends. A little lower and a little farther back usually, but this is not going to be a finished drawing. I'm just giving you guys an idea. And you start connecting everything with a really dark outline. And this really draws all those desperate separate shapes together. You'll see. Put a little lip in there. He needs a lip and a little bit of chin for character. See, once the basic shape is there, you can work out all of the other details around it. Clarify it. See, there's a little bit of shoulder muscle I missed. So added it in as I darkened in the outline because it didn't look right without it. See, you go into the forearm. You darken in some of the inner lines, but not all of them. Inside lines are going to indicate shading. They're not there to be complete. But you see, as I complete my dark outline, all of these different little shapes, all the circles, all the little squares, they start to come together, and you stop seeing the individual shapes, and you start noticing the whole picture. So then you're going to go back in with an eraser, eventually. I thought I was. Okay, I recorded this first, and then I am going to add the voice in later, because I didn't know if I wanted to fast forward anything. So far I haven't. So maybe next time I'll record it with the voice at the time. So anyway, I'm bringing up my tool palette. I am brand new to this Sketchpad. I've never used it before, or barely used it before. I used it on like 3 drawings, so you'll have to give me a break as I look for the right tools. There it is, soft eraser. You want to get with a pencil, of course, it's going to be a lot easier because you have an eraser on the other end. You don't have to look it up. But on this, I got to adjust the size of the tool and the strength of it. So I'm going to go in and erase in my guidelines, my basic shapes. And that'll really start to bring the drawing together. And you won't notice the basic shapes in it at all anymore. Well, you will, because I'm teaching you to look for basic shapes and objects. If you guys already know this type of stuff, I'm going to have more advanced tutorials later. There's going to be one on shading, which is going to be important because shading is the hardest part of drawing. Finding light sources, you got the highlight, you got a reflective light source, you got the deepest shadow, you got a gradient shadow. There's all kinds of things, and also different textures as you shade. I'm going to show you a little bit of a texture shade later on when I work on the bottle some more. I'm going to put some liquid in it, and I'm going to give a little bit of a hex shade to it. But anyway, I'm getting rid of all my guidelines here. I apologize if this is taking a little time because, like I said, I'm getting used to the eraser, and I don't want to erase too much. And I'm sure at least once or twice I do end up erasing too much. And just for fun, I may throw in some kind of little dubstep song to help move this along, and you can ignore my commentary and just watch the cursor move, because that's so exciting. Cursor movement. Watch the cursor. Ooh, it's hypnotizing you. Oh, here goes a second attempt at a forehead, and I believe this is also a second fail. Gonna give him a little bit more mouth than just the lip. Cheekbone's important. And let's not square that jaw out quite so much because I drew his body slender, so he didn't need such a big square-jawed head. You want to make the head match the body size and proportion wise, since you usually start with the head. Mainly because the head is going to affect the position of the rest of the body. So you notice this head is slightly off center, so it looks like he's kind of reaching for something, so I think I'm going to have to do something with the other arm. There, redrew the eye, and finally brought the forehead out a little bit better. Oh, and I screwed it up. Well, you gotta remember, guys, I'm still getting used to this tablet, drawing on the computer. It's easier than you'd think, but it still does take some practice. Is this going to be any better? I went with a light line first. That's always a good thing. Start with a light outline. Well, that's a little better. It was a little alien. But that's okay. I didn't say I was drawing a human, did I? No. Okay, I kind of did, didn't I? Alright. Well, this guy is now an alien. And he's got to be reaching for something, so let's extend that shoulder so he's reaching out. You can see a little more of the shoulder when he's reaching out because it's in a different position. You just got to look at things and see their basic shapes. But once again, shoulder's a circle. The bicep is an oval. You can see a little bit of that tricep back there and a little bit underneath. And that's the shoulder is thicker on top than it is underneath. So it's kind of concave underneath, so you want that line there to show the concave. Usually I would show you the forearm was an oval again, but I don't need that guiding line because I've done it so many times. And eventually you guys won't need the guiding line because you've done it so many times. You'll just go ahead and draw the shape because it's there in your mind. you can see the guidelines without them actually being there. I'm going to do a real quick hand here because hands are going to be a whole nother tutorial because they're hard. So I'm going to, hand is just a square with a bunch of little ovals sticking out of it, and some connecting lines. I'm going to have him grabbing something, so I'm kind of cheating there, so you only see the fingertips, because I didn't feel like drawing the whole hand. Once again, like I said, hands are all basic shapes. It's all still basic shapes, but they're complicated. There's a lot of little shapes in a hand to make it look natural. I can't remember what I drew in his hand. Oh, okay. I drew kind of a curvy sword, and I don't think I ever put much effort into the sword. I just wanted him to be grabbing something to show how you can how the basic shapes look in a different position. You see, the arm on the left side is almost in profile, but the arm on the right side, you're seeing it, seeing the inside of the arm more than the outside of the arm. That is the ugliest sword I think I've ever drawn. Let's hope I put a little more effort into it than that, but I don't believe I'm gonna, because, like I said, I was focusing on the guy there. And like I said, hands are going to be a whole nother story because there's just so many little shapes in it. And, oh, okay, I'm going to go back to the bottle. Bottles have a little lip on it, so you take that basic shape and you enhance it a little bit. And put a little guideline there to show where the lip is on the inside. And then I just darkened the oval on top because it's sometimes easier than actually drawing it out if it's that small a drawing. So that once again I'm putting a dark outline to draw the two shapes together, the two cylinders together. You darken the outline, it really you stop paying attention to the smaller shapes and you start focusing on the bigger picture. Then a little line for some fluid. Go back in and darken that in just a little bit. Not as dark as the outside outline. And just put a little bit of a glare highlight on it to follow the shape. That gives it a hint the shape is three-dimensional and not just two-dimensional. But later on, once again, I'll get into shading another time, because shading is complicated, and reflective surfaces and see-through surfaces are complicated. Give you a little idea right here as I draw a little stick behind the bottle. See, as the stick goes behind the bottle, the shape of the bottle curves the image of the stick. So that's just to give you an idea of a future tutorial how I show I'm going to do translucent objects, semi-translucent objects, light sourcing, shading, all of that stuff. And here's the hex shading I was telling you about, just to give it a little bit of color more than anything. And notice it's darker farther away from where I put the shiny highlight on the bottle. And we'll get to clean up here in a little bit, because obviously that is a sketchy dark outline. So you don't want to leave all that extra sketch stuff in there. So you go back in and touch it up with the eraser. Oh. That's just me failing with the pad. I apologize. Look, I'm going to add it back in. One more undo. There you go. Just be a little more careful when I'm erasing. And that's a little better. That's a little better. Oh, did it again. That's alright. We'll fix it all at once. Make all your mistakes and then go back and fix them. Oh, that's right, the symmetry was a little off. I didn't like the symmetry of it. So I already know the basic shapes because I've already drawn them there. And now I can just kind of try to match the line on the left side to the line on the right side. And that'll add a little bit of symmetry. See, it's all about breaking it down into basic shapes and then putting a strong outline. What am I going to do now? Oh, to show you can break down everything into basic shapes, I've never drawn a guitar before. Believe it or not, never drawn a guitar before. And a guitar is a couple of rounded boxes. So I'm going to draw a small box and then a larger box. And eventually that's going to look like a guitar. Remember, these are not finished sketches. I am just showing you how to break things down into basic shapes. So these are all guidelines. Eventually you won't even need the guidelines because you'll see the basic shapes in your head. And you see I go ahead and add the curve. I didn't follow the box outline much because I saw that I had drawn the smaller box a little too big. But you can, like I said, once you start doing this, you start seeing the shapes a little bit better. Draw the hole where the sound comes through the sound amplifier. Don't expect correct guitar terminology from me. And of course, you got the neck, which is just another square. It's just another rectangle. It's just long, and then you put a little head on it. And I think I make this kind of a half circle head. It's still a box, but I just put a rounded top on it. Of course, guitar heads can the head on the neck. Oh, there's the little thing that the string's attached to. Draw a couple little sloppy strings there. Now, gotta go back in and clean out some of these boxes. Clean up some of your sketch lines. Oops, that's me pressing the button on the pen accidentally because I'm not used to they put the button in the bad place on the pen. They really did. It's right there near the tip, and that's where I hold the pen. And okay, well, I'm going to stop complaining about that. So throw in a dark outline once again to draw the shapes together, and try to add some symmetry as you do that. You can clean up the shape as you draw your outline, because remember, you're going to clean up that outline too with an eraser later. Of course, in the future, after I've drawn a guitar a few times, I will need fewer basic shapes. I will need fewer guidelines and thus less cleanup. I actually draw with a pen quite well now because I don't really need the guidelines as much. So there's the guitar. It needs the little things to tune it with. There's the little tuners. If this were in closer, of course, I'd put in more detail. But there you go. There's a very basic guitar. Oh, am I going back to that nose? And the front of his face is still bugging me because I didn't get it right. See, that's the thing. You're going to keep fiddling with it and fiddling with it till you get it right. Especially if you're a perfectionist. Oh, there's a little neckline, a little muscle I forgot to enhance. And draw a cheap fist just because I feel like I'm wussing out not drawing the hands. Hands are freaking hard, guys. Hands are hard. And I didn't draw his forearm long enough there. You see how it's much shorter than the other forearm. But once again, I'm just showing you these are not for finished sketches. These are not finished drawings. These are basic, breaking things down into their basic shapes. I started thinking about what else I could draw to break down into basic shapes, and I realized I'd never drawn a lighter before. So, lighter's just going to be an oval cylinder. Eventually I'm going to do that. Eventually I am going to draw an oval cylinder. There, come on, there we go. Oval cylinder. And the bottom of the oval cylinder. And it's got to know the oval cylinder continues on one side and then kind of tapers off to the front. So, I'm going ahead and drawing the wheel in too. Just thinking ahead. See? And then we got of course, the top is a different color than the bottom, so you can have a solid line there. There's the little air holes that the fire gets air through. And just darken it in and fix the shape a little bit. Yeah, put the dark outline, starts to come together. Got to put the button in there. Don't forget to put the button in there. Ah, I didn't forget to put the button in there. See, and that's just a little half circle. Grab the eraser, clean it up. Yeah, I didn't like the symmetry there. It didn't match with the other side, so you just try to make the line in the same basic angle as the line on the other side. Darken it in the middle. And anything that's in front of something else is going to have a darker outline. And the farther it is in front, the more darker the outline you want. There I am, just putting just a little bit of highlight on it. Just for artistic license. There's a little more hex shading, I think. Yep. Little hex shading. Darkest farthest away from the light source. And then I decided to add a completely different light source, which was kind of silly. I added the flame on top. And the flame is just, well, you can just literally be pretty freehanded. Wow, look at that screw up. The flame, you can just kind of freehand a curvy line on both sides. It doesn't have to be symmetrical. In fact, it's better if it's not. But to make a flame look bright, here's just a little example of shading. One type of shading. You can shade away from the flame. You start dark on the outside and lighten the further you get away from the flame, and that leaves the flame in the middle looking kind of white hot. And just a little hint of the blue in the middle. I'm not sure if I'm going to do too much more with this. This was my tutorial on how to break things down into basic shapes. I hope you liked it. If you do, like it, subscribe. What in the heck am I still doing? I have no clue. But anyway, check out my book on Kindle. It's also available in paperback through Amazon.com. If you dark fantasy, kind of a psychological thriller. It's got a scary cover, but it's not a terribly scary book.